Welcome back to the farm. My name's Roz, also known as Passion Flower, and you'll find me here each week talking about my farming and creative life. Another week in lockdown, but let's not dwell on that. Let's just move on to what's been happening around the farm. And to be honest, I haven't actually done a lot outside this week, not a lot of farming type stuff. I've been really busy with yarn dyeing and business things. But it has started to feel like spring around here, which is a really lovely time of year. There are lots of flowers in the garden, a few new things that are popping up. The grass is starting to get long, which is a little bit annoying. Plenty of weeding to do, and the mornings are getting much lighter. The birds are busy. There is wattle growing everywhere, which is a really nice thing to see. And apart from a few short walks to get some fresh air and to make sure that I get out and do something, I really haven't done anything around the farm at all this week. Nothing of note anyway, just regular stuff. Well, as I said, most of this week I have been inside here in the shed in my workshop space, dyeing lots of yarn and getting ready for the big wool show, which is coming up on the 4th and 5th of September. So it's approaching quite quickly now. So I need to get myself organized and kind of plan backwards from that date to make sure that I have everything ready to go. First to the dyeing part. So I have finished dyeing all of the mini skeins for the Bunch of Flowers mini skein sets. I just need to label about half of those and also label the full skeins of those flower skeins as well. So all of that is on my garden variety sock. The other sock yarn that I have been dyeing up is lattice sock. And I wanted to get some really bright and happy colors on to this sock base. I just think it's a nice way to brighten up our lives if we have some color in our craft. So here are the colors that I have ready and will be listed for the big wool show. Gumball machine, Jewel C, Fairy Floss, Hangover, Choc Berry, and Fresh Start. So I have batches of all of these done, just finished rescanning them all. I now have to photograph, label, and get everything listed up in the shop ready to go. So the fun part is over with the sock yarn. I now have to do all of the editing and labeling and the stuff that actually makes it possible for people to be able to buy it. Without the photos on the website and without the listing all correct and published on my website, there is no way that anyone is going to be able to tell what it is or to be able to buy it. So that's the next big job on those for the next week, I would say. Depending on my internet, to be honest, because some days it works beautifully and other days it just does not work at all. So I have to sort of, once I get it working properly and get into the groove, just keep going and get as much of it done as I possibly can. And also this week, I've just dyed up some more DK yarn as well on my Harvest DK base. It is a really lovely, round, plump and soft 8-ply yarn. And I have done a few different colors than I've done on the sock yarn. My thought is that I want to explore more of my sort of older colors and some of my newer ones and make sure that I have a really good selection across my bases of the colors that I can do and give a really good representation of my overall palette. Because I am really proud of the colors that I create and the inspirations behind them, and also the fact that I only use 16 dye powders and that all of that all of that color and all of that difference in color is created by mixing those dye powders and colors together to create new colors rather than buying individual colors off the shelf and just using those. So I feel like my colors all go together because of that. I really love the creativity behind doing that and being able to mix and create new colors that are going to be specifically just colors that I have been able to produce on my yarn. And I did also dye up my Christmas colorway this week as well, which I am really, really happy with. Talking about creating a new color from just the colors that I have on hand. This Christmas color is a good example of that. I feel that the color that I have come up with is new for me and is certainly something that is very Christmassy as well. Now, I'm going to turn this into black and white and I'm going to show you and talk a little bit about the color. And then in a few weeks' time, I will actually reveal it for real. So here it is in black and white. Now, it's not going to come up, I don't think, with any difference. It is two colors, kind of three. So there's sort of like some undyed, and then it's another two colors, one main color, and then splashes of a second color. And I have crocheted a square, and I have knit my bloom square as well. I've got this sitting on blocking wires, so it's nice and square. I haven't actually blocked it. I just put it on the wires so that it would stay nice and square. And I'll share this now because it is knitting, but it is related to this Christmas color as well, is I'm now knitting a pair of socks, two at a time, with them from each end of the ball. If you want to be one of the first people to get your hands on the Christmas colour, find out all about it, when it is going to be ready in the shop, please sign up to my newsletter. There'll be a link in the description box below, so you can click directly there, sign up, and as soon as it is listed, you will be getting an email to let you know. So apart from the Christmas sample knitting and the Christmas socks, what else have I been working on? Well, I finished my Hangover and Fairy Floss socks. That's why I cast on a new pair of socks. So here they are, finished, two. I still haven't woven in the end, so they're probably not technically finished. But that's those there. I really do love how these two colours have come together, and I did really enjoy knitting these ones. So I am considering perhaps doing some sock sets in the shop as well. So 100 grams of the Hangover and then 20 grams of the Fairy Floss. And there may be a couple of other colour combinations that I can do that with as well. So that could be coming up shortly. I'm going to see how I go with my timing for all of the preparation for the big wool show, and if I can slip in doing some of that as well for these sock sets, then I'll do that as well. I've done quite a bit more on the expansion of the 10 stitch baby blanket. I am up to the third side now. I'm probably going to lose stitches because it's getting really big. So you can see that's the first side that I did, and then that's where it connects to the second side. And now I'm on to the third side. It's going really well and I love it. As I've said before, it's a really good project to work on at night where I can pop it on my lap, keep myself warm, and work on a project at the same time. I've still got quite a reasonable size ball left, so I'm sure that I'm going to be able to do all of the same rows on each side as I've planned, and then work on getting a border done in a solid color after that. I've also made some really good progress on my crossover cardie. This is definitely the hardest and slowest part of the whole project. I think the first, up until this point, took me probably about a week of knitting ish. But this section is going to be much, much slower because it is a cable pattern. It is 3 different stitches and it needs a chart to follow. I'm kind of getting used to it, but I've only done 1 chart repeat. So I still need to concentrate to make sure that I'm doing it right. It's attached at 90 degrees to the rest of the garment, and you're just picking up 1 stitch off the live stitches every second row. So you can see here, this bit is now all connected. It starts along down here, there, and there's the cable and the stitch pattern. And then you just add and connect another stitch as you go along. And I've got to do that all the way around the entire circumference of the cardigan. So there's a lot of work still to be done on this. I do love it. It is really soft and it's going to make a really, really great finished piece. I'm really, really excited about it. But I do need to make sure that I am concentrating because I really, at this point, do not want to wreck it at all. That would be terrible. And I kind of have to work it in at least 2 sections because you've got this really long needle that's got all of the stitches on it. And then you use just a second needle that's empty most of the time. And you knit across, connect here, and then knit back. And then you can have this needle off again. So you kind of have to do the 2 rows to make sure that you've got your spare needle off. So you're not sort of stuck. It feels like you're stuck halfway through. I'm still on the second ball of the Queensland Collection Kathmandu Aran weight, which is the green tweed. I will definitely be getting into the 3rd ball. I'm not sure how much more though I'll use. It feels like this is going to eat up a lot of yarn though because there is cables, and I was worried though that this was not going to be wide enough after I'd finished the first section and tried it on. It didn't feel like it was going to really cross over. But this panel is actually really quite wide. And when you think that's going to be on both sides of the cardigan, it is definitely going to end up being enough to cover across the whole front and give a really nice collar and back edge as well. This is the provisional cast on. So when you get all the way around, you then do a 3 needle bind off to close it up at the end. So yeah, still a lot more work to do on this. Well, that's it for another week. Thanks for spending some time with me. If you're enjoying these videos, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. And I look forward to seeing you next week on the farm. Bye.